this. And do you guys have any general questions, comments, concerns before we start here for our Brown versus Brown?
I think it'd be helpful for like tips on setting up balls
Oh yeah.
on
Sure.
attack.
Sure, no problem.
Oh yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, the first attack I called for the core to rotate onto the attacker's high ground,
Mm-hmm.
which is like that ledge next to the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then we never made the rotation again.
Hmm.
And that was probably a mistake.
Yeah, so that's a place that you can stage from. You're not going to be able to threaten their backline. Well, assuming that they come out on Brawl here, is that a safe assumption?
Yeah, they were the brawl team here.
Cool. So, yeah, this is a pretty good place to go. You're able to go, hey, we're relatively safe up here. It's hard for them to force engages on you. It's solid. It lets you even potentially rotate across with some shenanigans. Or, go under and come back up, whatever. It gives you pretty good access. That said, you don't have to do it. You can, if you're fighting this Brawl team, go, you just want to keep your backline in a place where they can't easily get on it until you're ready to pressure cook them, right? Like you want your backline sort of further away before that team is pressure cooked and starting to move closer once you get to a point where either you would want to force the engage on them or them forcing the engage on you wouldn't be a problem because you'd win the brawl. You with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
And if your team is on high ground, well, they can't very well force the engage on you, can they?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. You don't have to be up here. You could play here. You could play here. You could be like, I'm going to play here, and then I'm going to move closer as we soften them up. Or you could be like, oh, they're too close, so I'm going to play, more in like a back here type range, a back here type range, and as we soften them up, I'm going to get a little closer. But that's sort of what we're doing. We're adjusting our backline distance based on how close we are to the phase at which we think we can beat this Brawl team in a Brawl. Yeah, and we'll go through some examples of that. But any more questions before we get going?
We had a lot of trouble getting control of Hotel because they had a Sigma posted in there. So I was wondering how we should approach that.
I don't need it. I need 3 angles on them. I don't need Hotel to be one of them. So if I create a situation where, okay, so say I can't get control of Hotel, well, I probably don't want to post my backline here if I don't have control of Hotel. But if I don't have control of Hotel, I'm potentially okay posting my backline up here and then going, yeah, that's cool. And I've also got maybe a ball over here and a tracer over here. I've still got 3 angles, don't I?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't necessarily care that I couldn't get Hotel from you, that it was too tough to force my way through. That said, I do have the option if you're posting your Sigma in here and you're posting the rest of your comp here to go, we're a much more mobile comp than you. We can have our ball and tracer go bully your Sigma enough to make him rotate back to his team. And then our ball might just roll through here while tracer retreats back this way, stabilize for just a second or two. And then we go in and hit our dive on them when they're surrounded type thing. Or we just keep pressure cooking them, as may be the case. Because making their independent aspect, be it a Sigma, be it a Tracer, be it a Reaper, whatever, be it a Doomfist, go back to their team is part of the softening them up stage. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's see what happens here.
Ready for battle.
So are you guys 4-0 then, since you got the double forfeit this weekend, or did you guys have a tough one on week 1?
5,
We had a very tough one on week 1.
3,
Did you get one of the top 5 schools? Who'd you get?
2.
No. It was we just we I don't remember. I think we had like few like Masters GM teams.
Okay.
The ones who forfeited against us were also Masters GM teams actually.
Okay.
So we kind of got lucky with those.
Cool. But you're going to have the Master GM play level any minute now. You guys are going to push it and get there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, we're pushing through. We're rotating our backline to high ground. I see it. Sigma's sort of pushing independently. Tracer just starting to soften things up. This is potentially okay with me. I'm not like needing to soften these guys up right now because I don't really want to spend resources right now because here's how this sort of works, right? If you look at your ball team versus their brawl team on paper has better poke than you, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't work out that way in practice because you're able to surround them and sort of shoot inwards at them where they have to look in a bunch of different directions and shoot outwards at you and you have cover and they don't. In practice, you end up with the better poke because angles are just amazing. Yes?
Mhm.
Okay. If you're down like 1 or 2 people, and this is something that a lot of teams forget, it's not enough anymore. Even if you have angles, you probably don't have 3 angles if you're down 2 people. But if you're down 2 people, is your poke really better than theirs anymore?
No.
So yeah, that's the sort of thing where I don't really want to aggressively be spending tracer resources fighting these guys right now, unless it's like helping my team rotate. You follow what I'm saying? Like, unless it's like, hey, my team needs these guys distracted in order for me to rotate. Okay?
Mhm.
Cool. Because I'm just sort of chancing getting picked. Here we go. I'm watching you guys through walls. I've got 0 desire to do that as Ball, but okay, Knight Rider. Sure. Okay. And we're just about where we want to be, but we really do need to get them off that high ground. So how can we do that? Like, we're struggling to get them off that high ground, or maybe we don't. Are we about to get them off that high ground?
Honestly, the idea was just that like Zen would poke it out and Ball would like help and like boop them if they necessary.
And it kind of looks like it worked, right? Their Sigma's off high ground now, so now it should mostly just be a matter of time until you get those guys off high ground. Maybe not. Maybe their BAP's going to poke back too hard. But,
We did not. Their Cassidy poked back.
oh, their Cassidy pokes back too hard? Okay. So that's a problem. Uh-huh. Sure. And this is okay. This is okay what you two are doing here, trying to live with Hotel. But again, we can just get a bigger angle on these guys by fighting from over here. Or we could have one of you over here and one of you over here, and they'd have a pretty rough time. But that's okay. So there's more we can do to make the Sigma unhappy. Our Sigma is doing roughly what they should be doing, and we'd like to, you know, make sure we win this. But that's okay. Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. So we just got caught here. I didn't see exactly what happened. I suppose we can take a look. Oh yeah, we walked into a rock. That's gonna hurt. We're still okay to try to soften these guys up, to try to pressure cook them, except we also lose our Tracer. Ultimately, hey, we'd like to be able to win this fight. We had, before the Mei showed up, we had a bit of a 2v1 going on. You know, hey, got out-muscled, we'll deal. Okay, and you guys are going to get finished, so you should just reset as quickly as you can. Yeah. There's no way. There's no way to save you two. There's no way. Okay.
I survived for a long time.
You did, but really this is just an epic stagger. Like,
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
okay. Sure. So they've set up again, and ideally what you guys would do is you'd push your backline right through high ground again, because these guys are holding pretty close, and we don't want to challenge them up close, or we can get our flankers past them. And Ball we can get his way past. That's not hard. Even with them having the Cassidy and the Sigma Rock and everything else, we can get our way past. Okay, fine. We'll take that. Works out. Sombra did what they're supposed to. Ball did what they're supposed to. Are we ready to engage on this team?
No,
Why not?
because our Tracer isn't in place.
Yeah, that's fair. Our Tracer's not in place, and that's unfortunate. On the other hand,
But
we
our
did
Zen's
get a
not one.
pick. What's that?
And our Zen and what's it called? Zen and our Sigma aren't in position if they just turn the corner.
If
Like
they
to
just
actually like
turn.
they can
Oh,
just,
yeah.
because we're not at the corner yet. So
Okay, cool. So let's continue to put pressure on these guys as we rotate. No problem. And we don't quite have Transcendence yet, so we die. And now we're hard committing, and we're hard committing in this situation where, hey, we're going to lose our Zen. I hate this. I hate this. But if we lose our Zen, can we really win this fight?
probably not. Probably not. I thought that was my fault for using the rally. I thought he was in LOS. I thought
Yeah,
I could
yeah,
save
no
him.
problem, no problem. I mean, if you'd rallied and packed him enough times, packed him, maybe you can save him. But I'm more worried about, hey, we're hard diving over here. We're spending minefield. We didn't really know when we spent the minefield that this was over, but this just isn't our favorite thing. We're spending a lot of ults in a fight that unfortunately is over because we're just not going to be able to have the damage to take this team down with our Zen off the board. Not a huge deal. Cool. Well, maybe we are. We had that rally after all. Okay. So we should be able to win this. We massively spent ults, but we now should be able to win this because, hey, we created a situation where, their Sigma got stuck. We're in pretty good shape now. How do we win this? Because you guys definitely could have won the first point right here.
Oh, by the way, we have someone waiting in queue.
Let me
Do you
move
mind
them.
adding them?
Let's move your Sigma. Okay, there we go. So you guys definitely can win from here. And you don't need me to tell you how you can win from here. How could you have won from here?
We just EMP them when they come back.
It's an option. Sure. Let's maybe think about it this way. Like, okay, we have a minefield that's sort of out of relevancy at this point. We can step on the point to put pressure on them, but ultimately we're in the situation where I don't know if we just want to hold things as they are, right? We have 5 people alive. They have 3 people that are realistically in play. We just want to make sure that we don't lose anyone, and we want to, with as few risks as possible, clean up this fight, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So how can we clean up a fight with low risks? What's a safer thing to do than just pressing W at the enemy team?
Take positions.
Yeah, take positions and develop angles, right? Like if we're trying to clean up a fight, but we don't feel like we're so far ahead that we can just press W and quickly win it, we can instead use the fact that we have more people than them to take advantages that they don't have the people to contest, which makes it easier to finish off those people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we see this. We'd like to immediately go back up our Wrecking Ball. Looks like our Tracer and Sombra are maybe going to do that. This is maybe okay, but now our angles suck. I don't know why our ball rolled this way. This was not the way to roll. We wanted to roll back towards our team in this situation. Usually you don't exit towards your team, but so be it. Okay. And now we should be pretty set. Now,
More ults.
exactly. They have a ton of ults that they're going to throw at us, but, we've got 3 strong ults too, don't we?
Mostly, yeah. Mostly, we're all like. I think we should be calling out that the EMP to cancel. Well, like basically, EMP can cancel 3 of their ults. So, that's what we should be looking to do. Yeah.
We just need to set up a fight in such a way that if we use our strong ults, like we can take out 2 or 3 of them before EMP's over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if we do that, we just sort of win, yeah?
Yeah.
Or we could try to let them engage, but if they try to engage, like, I don't want to chance, they engage with a window and they instantly get a pick, or, they engage and then we're going to counter their beat with our EMP, and then we're going to fight them. Like, we could do those things, but I don't really want to chance them getting a pick. Like, how do I want to put this? It's a little easier to win in Overwatch when you drive. What's that?
Sigma's in the chat again.
Oh.
I mean,
Okay, no
Yeah,
problem.
he got disconnected.
All good, all better. It's a little easier to win in Overwatch when you initiate. Like, it's absolutely fine to be like, hey, I know what the counter moves are, I'm going to deny you. But you sort of have to keep making the right counter move if you play more on the receiving side. You with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to set the pace and make the opponents respond to it. If you were both truly elite, it shouldn't make a difference, but the reality is neither side is truly elite here. So if we're going to make the other team react to us, that can be a little bit better, and we'd like to do that. So we're setting up here. I have no idea why Wrecking Ball went this way. Please don't. Please don't. Is Wrecking Ball here? No. Wrecking Ball, I don't think is here. So, like, we went out and got this, and I'm thinking about this fight, and I know that this next fight is either, like, they're going to be here, and we're going to hit them right here, or they're going to walk to here, and we're going to hit them right here. So, in either situation, where does our Wrecking Ball need to be right now? Because it's not right here.
high ground above the arch.
Would have been very easy to roll through here and set up and then go, yeah, I can slam from up here, I can slam from up here, I can swing in from back here and then hit a pile drive. Like, this would be a very strong engage if your Wrecking Ball came from behind like this and then went swing, pile drive, adaptive shield, fight, right? Yeah, so we'd like that. I'm okay with having the Brig over here. Obviously, we're still waiting on our Zen, and then we're okay set up on angles. The truth is, I don't really need my Tracer. Like, why do you guys like cards so much? I hope Henry's leaving. Oh, Henry's leaving. Good. Okay, so we're going around to try to set this up. We're probably going to get found by the Casty, and my guess is that's going to go poorly. We don't. Good. Works for me. And they've pushed in, and they've used 2 ults here. No big deal. We get to... Oh, they've used lot 3 ults. Fine. What was the plan here? So you guys tell me what the plan was, because you guys went through this live. What was the plan here in terms of... Was the plan just to use EMP to cancel their ults?
Yeah.
Okay. So that doesn't make sense to me if your Sombra is going over on the right now, right? Like, if
I
our...
think that was my bad. I think that was my bad. I don't think we actually expected the
It
re-engage.
wasn't really a plan.
Yeah, our timing was off, so I did not call that we needed to do that.
Got it. Because my Sombra
what
is
I was
just like
saying.
dancing on top of this if she's waiting for an EMP to cancel their engage. Like, if that's actually the plan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So no big deal. Like, we're setting up like we're gonna do a hit on them over here, which I love, but our timing just isn't quite right for it. Yeah. So this is a little bit unfortunate. And if we're doing this, hey, our Tracer can be the one that goes this way. Yeah, we might run into the Casty, but so be it. Okay, so now they're using their ults. We aren't set up to counter their ults. So we're pushing back in with both of these. So since we didn't have a plan, both of our ults came out, and that just kind of sucks, right? Like, oops, we shouldn't be in this situation where we're using both of these ults. Because do we need both of these ults at once?
No.
Yeah, they're better if they're staggered, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
We're also in a nice position where we could have just like lived without using any ults.
Yeah,
Potentially.
kinda. Yeah. I mean, I don't hate the flux, but we'd kind of kited out enough.
The ball was definitely gonna die.
The ball was definitely going to die. Let's take a look here.
Wait, where
No,
was
he was like, if you go back like 5 seconds, he's full health, like in that corner over there. He could have just rolled
Oh,
out
he's
health.
about to die.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I think
like
he
right
roll. I
before.
think he roll.
Nah, he dies there. He dies there. Watch.
Oh.
No, I know, but he definitely dies. But I'm saying, look, right there, he's full health.
Did you flux for the ball?
I transfer the ball.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna be able to get it to him in time. But it's fine.
I got him.
Oh, you saved him?
Yeah, but it still wasn't enough.
I don't mind one ult going into this, truth be told. Like, I really don't mind, hey, they're using 3 ults right now. Let me go spend an ult to fight this. Either a Flux to not go for the Blizzard, probably, but to lift up the people behind the window and go, nope, you can't have that. Or a Transcendence to try to, counter the Blizzard, though, or go save the ball, whatever. I can deal with one. I just don't really want both right now. And, or...
Oh, we have someone trying to join Red Squirrels.
Okay. There we go. People rolling in here. So we continue here. Not a huge deal. We're using both ults. And, we just spent Transcendence and Flux, and they're alive. Why are they alive? Is it because they had beat in Blizzard?
It was because because those ults were stacked.
So that's part of it, but it's actually because you don't have enough angles on them. They were able to kite out because you have no one behind them, right?
Uh-huh.
If they were trying to kite out and they had to kite out into a Tracer that was standing right here, Tracer would just destroy one of them, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's what's going on there. I don't mind it. I don't mind using an ult to push back in here. Your angles are going to make your ult engages in general stronger. But hey, that didn't happen. Whatever. Again, we'd have liked our ball coming in from this side in the first place, which would have sort of given us that angle. But hey, not a big deal. We'll deal with it. But yes, if they're kiting an ult, well, they need to kite for the Transcendence or they need to kite for the Flux. They have to kite just as much for both of them if you're using them at the same time. If you use the second one later, they have to kite for longer, and that might not be an option because of objective pressure or because of, okay, well, you kited, but now you're in a long straightaway, right? So yeah, not a big deal. We just wanted to, you know, be a little bit more on it for that.
Yeah.
Ball is just having a fun time being a yo-yo. And then they push back in once our ults are over. And they're stronger than us at brawling because they're a brawl comp and we're not, and we don't have strong enough angles. That's simple. Oh boy. It could have worked, but they, you know, had shatter, and we, again, didn't really have people in there ready to fight. Our people were kiting out pretty hard. Maybe they could have turned on the Diamond 1, but hey. Not with shatter on the table. And that's just going to come down to, you know, I mean, that's late in the fight. I'm not worried about you guys not tracking it, but that's what we're looking at. Okay, so we're going to set up our angles again. Good. We can poke at these guys a little bit to help our ball set up. Should be pretty easy to brute force our way through hotel as well. Is Tracer going to go hotel? Okay. So Tracer's got a little bit of the hardest time here. Let me put this like this. So you guys need to think about lanes and who can go where. And I have no issue with where a ball went. I've kind of got an issue with Sombra going this way. Is Henry in here? Yes. Henry, can you guess why I have an issue with you going high ground like this?
There's no need for like to do a safe rotation because I'm invisible.
Yeah.
So I can just take a better angle.
So here's the thing. Like, I actually think you will be stronger from up here. This is a stronger rotation for you than through hotel is. But the reality is, it's harder for Tracer to go through hotel than it is for you to go through hotel, right?
Yeah.
And you have to think of the reality of your teammates, and we do still need 3 angles. So all 3 of you can't go this way, and you just kind of hung out Karako here to dry, is kind of what happened. Like, Karako, you're going to have to figure it out. And so Karako goes, well, okay, I should do this, which would be right. I'm going to do something slightly less right, but like the most right thing would have been go this way, but that was off the table. So that's sort of what happens here. Unfortunate. Hopefully we're okay. Okay. I don't really want to go in hard enough to use Adaptive Shield there. Now we're going to rotate our ball out to second. Good. Okay, a little bit better. Now we're in pretty okay positioning if our plan here was to set up to pressure cook these guys. And to me, that was the plan. If you look at what just happened here, hey, we should be pressure cooking these guys. I'm going to ignore you for a moment, Dexter. I'm going to pretend that you're not there because this is actually reasonable if that happens. Again, Tracer went in a poor way. I'm going to take this pile drive plus adaptive shield as, hey, this is to help us rotate. We accept that our next engage won't be in for at least 10, maybe 15 seconds, but we're using a sort of a soft dive to help our Tracer take positioning, to give us time to deal with this cast D. I'm okay with that. And as this is happening, hey, look, our ball finishes, goes out behind, and now maybe if we ignore our Tracer and our Brig, we're sort of set up. We have our Sombra up over here. We have our ball back here. We can now, like, cook these guys for, I don't know, 6 seconds, 10 seconds, something like that, and then just hit a dive and win as long as our Brig and Tracer don't get caught right here. Does that sound like it's to the recipe?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So Tracer made a mistake in how they went in, and Exor, you need to answer for me the question, is your team ready to beat this team in a brawl?
No, I wasn't. My idea was that I would just like swing on the Ryan to proc inspire, and then I would just like walk backwards.
How'd that idea go?
I don't remember if I get punished. I probably get punished, to be
Okay,
honest.
okay.
Because I didn't recognize their Sigma was over there.
Got it. Even if their Sigma wasn't there, it's generally just in the realm of, you know, look for whip shots that you can hit, sure, but like Inspire doesn't do a ton for your team before the brawl phase because your team isn't all stacked before the brawl phase to get the benefits from Inspire. Like, Inspire is still nice. You like having it. Your Zen likes having it. Your Sigma doesn't mind having it. Don't get me wrong, but like, I'm not willing to risk your life to go do it. Plus, you're playing against a team that has Lucio without Lucio, and you're like, I'm going to proc Inspire, then leave. Tell me more about how you're going to proc Inspire and then leave against a team with Lucio.
That's a
Yes.
good point.
Yes. So, again, we know that we can't win the brawl yet, so you want to be like back here. Once we soften this team up, you and Electroshock can move your way up to here. Or if they fall back because they're pressured, you might even move your way up to here because you want to be ready to dive this team when your team does. You want to get in that brawl as quickly as possible. But right now, unless you're sitting here with Rally going, hey, we have Rally plus Transcendence plus EMP and all they have is beat, I don't want to be this close because we're not ready to win a brawl. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Seconds remaining.
That would be you getting punished.
Yep.
I mean, I don't like that minefield because while this fight is lost and our touch is going to be a desperation touch, I would much rather have that minefield to defend my desperation touch, right? Because this desperation touch is going to be followed by it's a desperation touch, but you guys are going to be pretty close to back to point when the timer runs out, yeah?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we have several ults.
Right.
10 seconds.
Okay. And now you guys just rally, pulse bomb. You're saying, forget you to the Reinhardt. Unfortunately, that lamp is there. We activated overtime. We have no angles. Tracer's in with the rally. Nothing too wild here. We're just trying to basically walk on and push back, and we don't have much choice. They're answering with a window. The Reinhardt. There's our flux, but we're not going to be able to touch. Okay, good job, Henry. But they just have too much brawl power here. Again, they used all 3 brawls at once, but they're not really punished for it because you guys, were in overtime there and you didn't have your minefield, for example. Okay, so we understand what happened here. We're going to continue through to defense because, hey, we want to make sure you guys hold it perfectly. But, that was definitely a capable point. We had this set up when we pushed them all off point and had a nice 5v3 to set ourselves up, even though, yes, they had ult advantage. And then, we kind of threw away our opportunities to reset up pushes by sort of setting up as if we were going to hard fight them, by setting up in ways where we have to get our 3 angles first before we're allowed to really fight these guys. Okay.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Hey, let me see what we've got. Where is our Tracer? Oh. Okay, there we go. So we've set up over here. Fine. Set up over there. Set up over there. Okay. You guys are pretty sure that they're going to run Brawl and you don't have to worry about a Sombra?
Yeah, we thought they were gonna run a brawl.
Okay, because your Tracer can get caught playing that deep, and there's nothing you can do to save them if they're running a Sombra right now. But okay. They're coming in with the ball comp. This isn't too wild. We'll put pressure on the ball. Sure. Okay. And I can live with this, but you tell me, is this how do you guys fight another ball comp? Because that's what you're up against right now. How do you fight it?
Lane control.
You fight it with lane control. Well, you have lane control.
We don't have hotel control. Do we
Yeah,
need
but
it? Is that just a Sigma job to control both?
Your Tracer's controlling right lane over here. He's just controlling right lane on this side of the choke. Hotel, yes, is right lane control, but your DPS are triggering a dive.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe it's ill-advised to trigger this dive here, but we're triggering this dive here. So if we're triggering this dive here, what needs to happen?
Bodies go in.
Ball needs to go in. Yeah, that's something that should probably happen. Our ball should go in. Again, maybe this is ill-advised because they have a Widow up here who we literally can't fight. But hey, that's something where we've triggered a dive. And what should our backline be doing if we've triggered a dive?
Be walking up.
Be walking up, or at least, going, we need to look at this from a situation of, hey, we'd like to go join you in the dive, and if that's not feasible, if we'd have to walk through too many flankers to go join you in the dive, well, we'll fight your flankers if your flankers would otherwise go back and peel. If they can't go back and peel, we'll leave them be. So I'm actually a little less worried about your backline, but I would like to see this happen. It doesn't. For some reason, our ball is peeling their dive instead. Okay. I'd be pretty happy to fight their Sigma right now because a lot of people just went back to go peel. For, I mean, is this Sigma supported?
no.
Barely.
What's that?
There's like one person there, but not really.
Right. This Sigma's unsupported because the Widow and both the supports are too busy dealing with what's going on with the dive that's happening, right? So we might adjust what's going on now and realize, wait, we're probably not going to win this fight on their supports anymore. Maybe we will, but this Sigma is pretty darn free. And hey, that's fine. We're sort of, our target calling should sort of adjust for that. Your DPS might be talking about, hey, Anna, but you guys should have your own calling going on in this group that's saying Sigma, Sigma, take Sigma, Sigma's free, that sort of thing. Because you hear that your Tracer is fighting, you hear that your Tracer and Sombra are fighting, and you go, okay, well, if there's only, if we need to make sure that we create an advantageous situation for ourselves somewhere. And that advantageous situation right now is on the point on this Sigma. And I would very much like a Sigma. What are we? We're fighting this over here? We're fighting ball.
Because Sombra said she found the ball, so I wanted to get a stun so we could hack him and kill him.
Got it. Let me see this again. Oh. Okay. Yeah. I'm a lot less worried about this. I'm a lot less worried about this fight right now because I see it. Yes, you can get an elimination on their ball. That's a thing that can happen. But, you can also get an elimination on their Sigma. This is a fair bit easier of an elimination, I'd argue, to get. Balls are oh, let's chain our stuns together and let's get
I
it.
just have a lack of communication there, honestly.
Yeah, all good.
Let's call it out. Probably would have.
And that's sort of what we would want because we have 3 different targets that our team is trying to take out right now. We're trying to take out Ball, we're trying to take out Sigma, and we're trying to take out Anna. And really, we kind of limit ourselves to 2. We might have a situation where, yes, we have to be shooting at a 3rd target, but we're really tying up a 3rd or 4th target. We're not actually trying to eliminate 3 targets at once, ever really, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't mind if Sombra's fighting Ball because, hey, I'm stuck. I can't get to the Sigma fight, whatever. But again, this should be a pretty easy finish on their Sigma. It is. I'm glad that we got it.
Oh, we have the enemy Sigma from Brown trying to join.
Okay.
Wait,
Why not?
Can you rewind 5 seconds?
I can.
Okay,
Oh,
now-
got it. We need to see
now
this
press
one.
play.
Yeah,
No, this
okay.
This is the ball. This is not the Sigma.
Oh, this is the ball?
Oh.
So this
He
is
was
the
thinking
ball
about
that
this
gets away, not the Sigma. There you go. Okay. So, not a big deal. Again, we'd have looked at this and we'd have said we'd have liked our Briggs out here fighting this Sigma rather than worrying about this ball because we're not going to be working on 3 targets at once with an intent to take them out. Okay. Hey, we got that. Everyone else is out, and we should be resetting up our lanes. We're resetting up our lanes to win this. Let's hope that's happening. This isn't my favorite thing in the world, and it's mostly not my favorite thing in the world because we've reset our lanes with our Tracer over here again. And, this is okay, I suppose, but this forces us to dive in pretty hard, and it's constantly leaving our Tracer in a situation where they're in risk of getting forced out. If they push Tracer right now, are you guys able to push the other team?
No.
Not really. So I really would prefer us to set up, this is okay for an aggressive kill box, but I probably would have preferred a more defensive kill box for, hey, we'll hit you when you walk through the choke. It's a little more predictable. This might have been fine as a change of pace. It kind of worked as a change of pace, but I wouldn't keep resetting our Tracer to here. I'd set up a more standard right lane control with Hotel. But hey, no big. Okay. Okay. So that's happening. Unfortunate. Tracer gets caught. How good are our angles right now?
I mean, we do have 3, kind of. Where's our
You
Zen again?
do. You do have 3 angles. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to see where your Zen is? Okay.
Oh, yeah, we do have 3. Kind of 3 angles, yeah.
I know I can count this as 3 angles. I can. It's not the worst thing in the world. Sure would be nice if we had, I don't know, maybe like a Sombra over here, or maybe a Sigma over here. Those sure would be nice though, right?
I think that's where Tracer was playing before she died.
You mean your
Kinda
Tracer
was.
that started
Kinda
over
just,
here?
like, frantically running around.
Oh yeah, she was frantically running around.
That's more accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, we would like to deepen our angles because it costs us very little to do so, even as this fight is going on here. Oh, look, Sombra's thinking about deepening the angle, and Sombra's about to find a friend. Oh, did Sombra just find Casti? And in finding Casti, are we going to create a quick 2v1? Oh, this should be free. Don't you dare.
Oh, no.
Don't
Oh,
you dare!
No.
No.
Oh, no. Henry, did you call it out? Tell me you called it out. That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
probably.
It's probably
Ball
called too
just
late.
ran.
Ball had made up
It's
his
a
mind.
free Casti!
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty sad.
Okay.
That
Okay.
sucks, yeah.
Nope, no big. And again, if we got this Casti call and we heard Casti, and we're Zen or we're Brig or we're Sigma and we have no idea where this Casti is or what's going on, what do we do when we hear that call going on? What's going through our head?
We ask where.
You could
Well,
ask
I would
where,
ask-
that's okay. I'd really look at this from a perspective of if you know the Casti is isolated from his team, let's
walk.
pretend that you have an idea of where it is. You can see through your own teammates that are shouting that the fight is happening over here. So now you know where the Casti is. So what do you want to do in this situation if you know that there's a fight that's going on over here that seems to be a 2v1?
We
I-
walk forward.
Why?
We walk
kite
forward to distract
and
the
look
rest
for
of
your
the team.
ball and tracer.
Okay. Is their backline able to support their Casti right now?
No.
Probably. No.
So, do I want to give them a chance? If we have a 2v1 over there, it in
Wanna play
theory means we're down one somewhere else, right?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we should kite back.
Yeah, we can kite.
Yeah, we can just kite back or we can set angles. We can fall into a defensive concave, whatever we want. We can be ready to fight them 3 seconds from now, but we don't want to actively spend resources fighting them. We don't have to be like terrified of them, but we don't need to aggressively fight them right now. With me so far?
Mm-hmm.
If, on the other hand, this fight was happening right here, this 2v1 was happening, what would you guys do?
Walk forward.
Right, because now you either need to help eliminate this Casti, or you do need to distract these guys, put pressure on them, because even though the elimination you're expecting to come through is this one, not one over here, you want to put pressure on these guys so it's harder for them to put resources into protecting their Casti. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you do want some awareness of your backline, and this is sort of what we were talking about earlier of like, hey, how many fights are we having at once? And the answer might be 2, but we generally have one target that we're sort of favoring. We should have some understanding as players. That's not to say you're not going to try to get your eliminations, but some understanding of, are we fighting a bigger or a smaller group? Where are we actually expecting the elimination to happen?
Where did our ball go after?
What did our ball? You know, went and found
Oh.
himself a mega.
Why did he need a Vega? That was confusing.
I don't think he was full health. Yeah.
Oh, he was full health.
Like,
That's
he's
right.
over here, but I'm still taking this fight. You know, 2/3 health, ball plus Sombra versus Casti. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Especially because it's not like we can't go, hey, you know, peek for just a second to get the Harmony Orb, to get a repair pack, then fight type thing. But hey.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, we kited out, and, you know, kiting out would have been okay and right if we were in this situation where we were fighting this Casti. Unfortunately, that's not what's happening. So we're kiting out here, their ball's coming in, and this is happening. So now, there's probably a call going on back here of, like, ball, or something like that from our back line, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
We don't have Sigma Shield for that slam.
What's that?
Do we have Sigma Shield for that slam? Just a micro thing.
Yeah, sure, let's check. Yeah, we did. So we could have blocked the slam. That is a thing.
This is a small thing. Yeah. No
Yep.
big deal.
But what we're looking at here is now I know that my backline is fighting flankers. I know that that's happening. So if I'm a flanker, I need to find my way into a fight pretty quickly. And specifically, I need to find my way into a fight either with the people that are fighting my backline or with people that would otherwise be supporting the fight on my backline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm hoping that's going to happen with our ball and Sombra. Kind of. A little slow on our ball, a little non-committal on our Sombra, but okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wait, one quick question
Sure.
for me. Do you think it was right for me to walk up and fight like around the statue, or should I just stayed with my Zen for the ball because he died to the ball?
Let's take a look. Your Zen's still alive at this moment. Let's go back. Here you are. Where are you? Oh, so this is where your Zen dies. Fine. So let's go back here. And what are you doing? So you've procced Whip Shot, or you've procced Inspire. Yeah, so here's the real answer to this question. Do you guys think you can win a brawl right now?
Nope.
I don't care.
Actually,
I don't care whether you guys think you can or not, but give
Oh.
me an answer. Like, I'm not, like, being judgmental on whether you think you
I
can
thought-
or can't win.
I
Just-
thought I could walk onto them and get a few swings. That's why I walked up because
I-
I thought I could.
But I'm not interested in can you get a few swings to proc Inspire, because you already did that off the Sigma. I'm interested in can you go win a brawl? Like, can your team win a brawl right now?
No.
No,
I
no,
think
we're not
both
able.
teams use like a similar amount of resources, but they have like a McCree on high ground, a Widow on high ground, and we don't have like any beneficial angles. So
Okay.
at best, it's like a 50-50.
Okay.
At best.
And I might be okay. If you guys think it's a 50-50 and you want to take it, I'm okay with that. I don't think it's a 50-50, but I don't actually care. The point I'm getting to is if we think we can win this brawl, we actually need our Zen walking in with our Brig. If we don't think we can win this brawl, we shouldn't really be walking in yet because proccing the Inspire was all we needed. And beyond that, yes, the other team has a Wrecking Ball. Yeah, they're a little poke heavy in that they have the Widow, they have the Cassidy, that sort of thing, but like they do have the Wrecking Ball. You can sometimes freelance against just a Wrecking Ball. If they had a Tracer, you certainly wouldn't freelance. But like, I'd look at this and go, no, I think in this situation, you shouldn't have gone in. You already had Inspire going. I don't really expect you to go brute force any duels against these people, especially at a higher level. I wouldn't expect you to brute force duels against any of these people. Brig really, you don't just win clean empty duels or even by surprising people most of the time. You fight people with a little bit of support from your other support, or you fight people in a way that offers Inspire to much of your team and your team wins. Is your team going to get Inspire if you fight over here?
No.
Yeah, so this is ill-advised is basically where I'd go. Fair? Okay, cool. Sure.
Yeah, I
would-
guess if you want to walk up like that, you should call out to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we
Well,
can
I
get
mean, there
there.
should just sort of kind of be like we should hear our target calling going on, or we should hear a commit call, or we should hear something. Because I do see our team is pushing forward. It would not be the worst thing in the world for our Zen to be up here right now. Like, I don't know that we're going to win this fight, but if we thought, hey, we are going to win this fight, or we thought, hey, diving, committing is the right move right now, and it looks like a lot of our team did sort of move with that purpose, hey, we would want our Zen up here. Because, yeah, it works out. We do have our Brig up here. We do have our Ball up here. Our Tracer is on the way up here. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. There's that. Okay. Okay. And this is going to quickly be a thing where we go, hey, let's look at this. Who's got the most aggressive angle on the enemy team?
Whoever's under that little thing.
Yeah, so it's actually that person, that Cassidy over there, but you're not aware of that Cassidy. Well, maybe you are.
Yeah, the Cassidy takes wild angles. I feel like
Yeah.
is that just
I don't actually think you guys are aware of this Cassidy, though maybe Henry is. This Casty is playing as if you guys are playing Brawl, as if they're playing Brawl against another Brawl team. I'll deal. Not worried about it for the moment. What was I saying here? The most aggressive angle that you guys are aware of from the enemy team is this Wrecking Ball, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I want my damage going right now. Because if I shoot at the person on the most aggressive angle, that will either eliminate them or make them leave. And if they leave, they'll have a less aggressive angle. And if they have a less aggressive angle, they'll do less damage to us. Yeah? So this is kind of where I want my damage right now. You know, if there's like someone in the middle of your team, that's generally where I want my damage. Now, that doesn't mean that Tracer, who's maybe already fighting up here, has to go, let me double blink and get back and get on this immediately. That doesn't mean that maybe if you had an Orisa and the Orisa's really putting hard suppressing fire on the enemy team that she stops, but most of our damage should be on this. And in the case of our ball, we definitely want our damage on this because it's not like we're doing particularly good damage. We're shooting into a shield. We don't have particularly good damage with our fall off like that. Whereas this, hey, big target, close range, our spread doesn't bother us. Yeah, we'd like that. We'd also like Sigma to shoot at that. We'd also like Brig to work on that. Okay, I guess our ball will just leave instead. Sure. Ball could be pretty dead right now, but no big. Probably wouldn't have gone in if it had been pushed harder. Good. Good answer by our ball to that window. Slam plus mines is going to close the window effectively. They're going to answer with their own minefield. We're going to use rally. We do have the angle working out for our Sombra, but they're going to have the angle working out for their Ana. Okay, we develop some angles. It ends up working out. Not too worried. And we're going to set up for the next fight. And we're set up for this next fight knowing that we have EMP. Cool. So what was talked about going into this fight? Or was there no time because we're rushing the attack?
Our most called out is our DPS alts.
Okay.
So usually, like, we'll say, like, usually the Tracer themselves will say, I'm gonna go for a pulse bomb, and I'll
Okay.
be like, okay, well, I'll go for a pulse bomb first, and then if we get a pick from that, we just like pushed in. If we don't, then we will EMP.
Okay. Okay, makes sense to me. Cool. So I hope we're going to be set up for this EMP. We've got a couple over here. We've got our Tracer in there. We look reasonably set up. We don't want to fight before our Zen's here, but our Zen is basically here. Our Brig is here. We're pretty okay if we see something that we want to fight. We don't really need to pull the trigger on this. Don't really need to pull the trigger on it. Why did we go in? Okay, so here we are. And I see this, but again, it looks like we're going in relatively hard here with our Tracer. I don't think I necessarily want to go in this hard when it doesn't look like my team is seriously pushing yet. Okay. Okay, fine. Sigma's free. Just put pressure on Ball, right? Ball's the target we're going to put pressure on. Ball has the most aggressive angle. Good. There's their Flux. We never really set up to hit our EMP here.
Just get attacked.
What's that?
He just gets hacked.
Yeah.
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 Dude, South Pay is too good.
What's good?
Oh no, I was
It's a
not
headshot.
for capacity.
Oh, got it.
Oh.
Got it.
That's Gonzalo, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, it's Gonzalo.
Got it. Okay, fair enough.
It's our one GM player.
Okay. Okay.
Excuse me.
Dude, you're like flat now, my dude.
One not washed DM player.
Not
Okay.
true.
So you guys are going to win that fight. I'm not going to worry about it. I really would have liked to actually hit the EMP and just sort of win against them before the rally came out. I'm perfectly happy to spend an ult and dive them and just sort of win. We instead went, oh, hey, let's just grind. I'm okay with the grinding, but, you know, we could have perhaps made that a little higher probability, a little safer. Okay, we're set up now.
60 seconds remaining.
We've got some left side control. Fine. They're pushing in here. And what should we be thinking right now as a team?
We need to like slap them on the rotation into a hotel because that's obviously
Yeah,
where they're going.
that would be great. If we could just be like, hey, let's destroy them at the hotel. We're not actually set up to really hit them here. Like, it doesn't look to me like our backline is going to walk into this team when this team is rotating through right here, based on what I just saw here. So again, this is sort of what we talked about at the beginning here of I happen to know right now that you guys can, well, I don't necessarily know that with your Sombra gone, but, you know, if you look at this, if you still had your EMP, you'd be in a situation where you'd hit them on the way into the hotel. I don't know that you're going to do that now. Maybe you're going to hit them with a soft dive instead and try to kite. Maybe you are going to all in and try to 5v6 them here because what other choice do you have? The situation's not going to get better. I'm personally okay with either of those, but you sort of have to be like, are we going to hit this team when it rotates or not? And it doesn't look to me like your Zen is set to hit this team when it rotates. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's clearly not happening. Instead, they kind of gift you something here, which is their wrecking balls come in, and our wrecking ball just needs to do the same and not let them in while we push their wrecking ball. Oh, their wrecking ball left. Even better. Fine. Tracer Fine Soldier. Nothing too wild there. We're able to counter their ult with ours, and I see how this goes.
It's high tide.
Apagando las luces. 30 seconds remaining.
Sure. I don't really mind that. We're rallying in a last fight situation. And that's
10
basically going to
seconds
do it.
remaining.
Let's look at this like
10
this.
seconds remaining.
Okay, so where's our kill box? Where are we going to eliminate this enemy team?
Right in front of the statue.
Right in front of the statue? So like right here?
Between the statue and the point.
So like right here.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. That is where we're set up currently to hit them. Should our Tracer be here if that's where we're set up to eliminate them?
I think she's just trying
Not yet.
to distract the people in the back line so that the Ryan goes in the low, gets support, and dies.
Okay. Okay. Fine. We hit this. We should be walking at these guys. We should be walking at these guys. Fine. We're good. That's pretty over. We do need to address the high ground. That's going to mostly fall to, can we get our Wrecking Ball up there? Maybe. No, Wrecking Ball's worried about points. Wrecking Ball's the only one who can address that. Doesn't matter, we get it. Okay, so we can jump over to the other VOD for a few minutes here, but what we're looking at is a couple things really strike us. We didn't win on attack. I mean, you know, we got the full hold on defense, so we're not going to be too upset about that. But we didn't win on attack when we definitely had the opportunity to do so. Oh, look, the place where we had the opportunity to do so. We definitely had the opportunity to do so, literally just by setting up for this fight. You know, you guys had the plan, or maybe some of you had the plan of we're going to EMP to break their engage. They're going to engage with some ults. We're going to counter them with EMP. And that's not my favorite plan, but it was a usable plan. We also did have time to set up our ball up here. Our ball had plenty of time to do that. We, you know, would have probably said, hey, let's set maybe Sombra over here and send Tracer this way, this sort of thing. But like, that really was your best, strongest window right there on your attack to win. But there were plenty of other opportunities that you could have created on your attack to win, literally by actually setting up here, rather than just sort of fighting them, sending your Brig in, just having your Tracer sort of dance around this sort of thing. And that is by, we're going to set up our lanes before we're going to start fighting this team. If our flankers need time to need help rotating in, maybe our Zen will start shooting, maybe our Sigma will start shooting to create a little bit of a distraction to help our Tracer go through here. But after that happens, we could keep shooting at them, or we could close the angle and wait for a moment and then open and start shooting them again once they're set and wear this team down. We didn't really establish our angles before committing to a lot of these fights, though. Do you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So that's what I'm worried about on our attack. Our defense, a little messier, sort of a ball versus ball type thing. You guys would have actually gone McCree hunting if you started recognizing what this team was doing. You'd have just started saying, Henry, find McCree repeatedly, and you'd have kept having your Sombra plus Tracer or your Sombra plus ball, whoever's lane the Cassidy happens to be in, get farmed by, 2v1s while you sort of don't take the rest of the fight, if you get what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Quick question about the balls then. For
Please.
attack, the place where we put the balls in, like initially, does
Yeah.
it make sense to rotate there every single fight, or does it like become too costly, or is it just like not necessary?
The balls then, you mean the Briggs end? Because
Oh, sorry. Sorry, the Briggs then against the Brawl, because we don't want their Ryan to like speed on us.
yeah, so do they have tools to stop you from getting there? So it does become predictable, but like, are they going to TP up to you? Are they going to Maywell up to you? Well, yeah, if they have those options, maybe we don't want to because we don't want them to be able to set a moderately complicated plan. But if they don't have those options, and let's go back here. Yeah, they do have those options. So you're going to hit situations where if you keep rotating up there, you're going to real quickly find a Reinhardt and Maywalled up here with his Lucio and Diva with him running you guys down. And that's not going to be fun. But you can do it multiple times. You just don't want to do it every time. Again, was perfectly fine to have you guys fight from here without your backline setting up on high ground. This is your strongest rotation. You might use this the most, even though it takes a little bit longer to set up. But it doesn't have to be your every time rotation, and you do want to think about mixing it up some because you don't want to start running into situations where, hey, you try to run this way and they may well themselves up, or you try to run this way and they actually pre-set up their diva up here, that sort of thing. Where like if they know exactly what you're doing, their plans start getting more specific. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
If there's other questions, I'll take them. Otherwise, I'm going to hop into the other code for a couple team fights here.
Yeah, the other one isn't an internal scrim. It is a comp match, but it is with the entire team because
Okay. Because
yeah,
someone
but we
canceled
treated it
scrims
as
on
a
you?
scrim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
To Oasis.
Both of our teams forfeit actually, which is very nice
Ready for
Yeah.
in the tournament.
Well, that's just going to make next week's opponents that much harder, which is great. Is great.
We're facing one GM team and one gold team.
4.
Oh, yeah. I think you're going to win one and lose one. You're going to beat the GM team, but that gold team is going to bring it.
Yeah.
The objective.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Probably.
Okay. So we're setting up. Okay. I suppose this is comp, not a scrim, but I'm going to look at this like this. How important is that mega over there?
We wanted to hack it because usually teams will play ball or something that needs or a lot of divers basically that will use the mega.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we kind of think about this the way we think about is that Busan, the Busan like temple map where
I
we
don't think we should have said 3
overload.
people though. To not
Yeah,
2 people.
maybe.
Yeah, so you can. Ruins is a pretty common place to overload the mega, where you go, hey, we'll send 5 people to overload the mega Ilios Ruins. And, maybe 1 person on the off angle. And I could potentially live with that. Hey, let's send 5 people to overload this mega because we think this is the important mega, and we don't think this mega is as important. I could potentially live with that. But even if I'm doing that, I probably want my Tracer over here. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can interrupt the other team's Sombra hack with my ball. My ball can shoot at the other Sombra to interrupt their hack while my Sombra hacks. My Diva can try to get here faster and DM to cover my Sombra while she's hacking, whatever. But I'm looking at this, and...
Well, my question about that
Shoot.
is because almost always,
Mhm.
even if it's a brawl team or whatever team, like teams will go where they're going right now. So does it not make more sense for the Tracer not to take the long route and just like go through main and maybe enter
Sure.
the
If you
door?
instead say, no, we think the fight is going to happen here, my Tracer's going to go this way, I'm potentially okay with that. But here's the thing.
Okay.
If you run into a brawl comp, are you actually going to take the fight over here before they get the elevator up? Like, is there any chance of you actually fighting this comp that had a Lucio before they're
No.
set up on high ground?
No.
Probably not.
So I'm not actually playing to take high ground from them. I'm playing to take map control from them. So I actually don't like rotating my core this way. This is better if I know I'm up against another Zen Ball team. I'd like to get control of this. But if I'm up against basically anything else, do I want my core to be here?
No.
So maybe your Sombra or Diva or someone is here quick enough to scout and tell you, oh, hey, it's safe, or oh, hey, it's Amir. But, or more often than not safe, go the other way. We could get this hack, that would be cool, but I'm probably actually going to end up in a situation where my core is going to play from here, and I'm going to have like Ball Sombra over here and Tracer over here, or something along those lines. With me so far?
Mm-hmm.
With that in mind, taking away their megas okay. I don't mind getting both megas, but I would hate to lose this mega. Ultimately, I don't mind at all if our Tracer goes here to start. I just think what you're likely to end up in is so often you're going to end up having to settle for map control, majority map control, instead of high ground control. And I'd probably set up a little bit more with that in mind. But no big. Your Tracer does then work their way over. Did we get the mega hacks? We did not. I mean, we can't win. Do I get more confused by the team that's still trying to push to the escalator when the wrecking ball that can knock them off is right there? Or do I get more confused by the ball team that thinks they can brawl with a brawl team when their Zen and Brig aren't there? I don't know.
Wait, when you say the Zen and Brig aren't there, do we just need to walk forward? Like the supports?
I mean, how influential is your Zen on this fight right now?
Not super.
Yeah. I'm not ready to take this fight as the ball team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if my Zen was set up right here, I'd be ready to take this fight, but my Zen basically can't be here against most teams. Against this team, you could have had your Zen here in time, but most of the time, these guys will have a Lucio if they're a better brawl comp than you, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the weird situation where they're a better brawl comp than you, but they're not here faster than you, but that's only because this is ladder. Make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't really want to rotate my Zen Brig over here when they have the better brawl comp. Basically what this turns into. With that in mind, I'm not ready to immediately take a fight here. I'm instead just rotating to get map control, and then I'll start to soften these guys up with angles, or I'll dip my toe on the point to force them to dip their toe on the point, which will allow me to soften them up with angles. With me so far?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because again, I'm looking at this.
I'm taking damage.
And I'm glad that we're winning over there. But this is more us brute forcing them than like, we've set this up correctly.
The objective is now active.
Okay. Okay. I assume you guys are going to do a forward hold? Forward hold? Okay. I don't care about this high ground. We beat
I
this
wanted
team.
forward hold, but then my team did not agree.
Okay. Okay. I'm with you here. Like this is good. I like it. We beat these guys. We beat them cleanly without losing anyone. We earned ourselves a forward hold here. And if they go, no, we're already too close. Are they too close? Because it looks to me like they've still got people in spawn, and you guys are gonna win a 6v4 if they go, we're already too close, right? So like this should be getting punished right now, truth be told. But hey, we'll deal. No big. If you'd instead lost people and you'd won it, but you only had like 3 people alive, yeah, you'd be right to go, hey, we'll prioritize high ground control.
Yeah, I think is it a good thing to call out like where we want to fight?
Yes.
Every time before?
Well, I mean, you
'Cause I
could.
feel like that might reduce your flexibility, but also like
Yeah, I
We're
mean,
a
it
lot of these people can.
can't be a hard, fast rule. Like, we have to call where we're going to fight every time. You can't be like, this is the kill box, and then they go around your kill box and you're all paralyzed. It can't be like that, but we definitely could be calling in this sort of fight, push forward, forward hold, or high ground hold, or something like that. You should all sort of see what you've set as your elimination box, because you should all be aware of what forms it, and you should also be aware of when it adjusts. Like, you should be aware of each other as players, and you should all be able to calculate that right now, for example, you guys are set up to eliminate someone right here. Like, that's something that you should all be aware of. Your Zen, sadly, is, well,
On the ground.
yes. Yes. Okay. We're spending a lot of resources before we're diving here. We just spent 3 blinks, recall. Okay. And again, this isn't really great. Like, this isn't really great. I'm not seeing a clean decisive dive. And maybe I'm not seeing the clean decisive dive because you guys are on different pages on what you want to do. Maybe some of you are thinking, we just want to put pressure on them and make it hard for them to rotate in, hard for them to rotate forward. But if that's the case, you did need to be giving space and surrendering space as you were shooting at them. And that's not what I'm seeing happen here. I'm seeing your tracer go relatively hard. I'm seeing your brig stand firm in their place rather than back off. That's sort of what I'm seeing. And if that's what we're doing, we needed to trigger our dive when they walked through that elimination box. If we were instead kiting out, that's fine. We shoot at them as we're kiting out, and we slow down how fast they advance to buy more time for our Zen to respawn. And I noticed that on King's Row as well, where our dives weren't terribly decisive. And you guys can do 3, 2, 1 counts if you want, but really, you see them walk through the place that you've set up to hit, and you kind of hit them, right? Like, that's what's going to happen. And if we're calling it off because we're down 1, or we're calling it off for one reason or another, someone doesn't have a cooldown, we might get an I can't or something like that from someone, and that might reinform the plan, and we might have one of your callers start going kite, defensive concave, whatever, but that's not really what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing enough decisive fights here in this right here or the one before. We're like our team.
I'll do a better job of calling it out in
Okay.
the future.
Okay.
I think that's something like we would benefit from, just like going over map by map and just talking about like generally where do we want to have kill boxes. I think
you could do that. I think the training wheels to get there that might actually even be more effective is just on your way in, have your DPS talk about which lane they're taking. Like, on your way in from the start of the map, on your way in after a lost fight, after a won fight, have your DPS talk about which lane they're each taking, because if they each take a different lane, your ball can relatively free roam, and your backline is going to be somewhat protected by the DPS having the outside lanes. And then you're kind of always, and then it should be pretty obvious for you all to see. I don't mind you going through the maps, but I want you to be somewhat flexible, because again, we could have taken a fight on them right here if we were forward holding with, maybe our Sombra peeking from here, maybe our backline right here, something like that. We could also have taken a fight on them right here. There's times when we'd take a fight on them here, and we could also take a fight on them here. Like, there's so many different places we could fight them, and where we get is going to have a lot to do with how far our DPS, our lanes, are able to push up before they meet resistance. Does that make sense? Okay, and it's totally fine if it doesn't. Like, please do stop me. Sure. Mm-hmm. That's nice. We're in this fight because we did get that double pulse bomb. I don't know who plans on dealing with that soldier.
nobody deals with the soldier. I just keep packing my Zen until the soldier runs away.
Okay, I'm looking at our baby diva and our ball back in spawn. So yeah, nobody dealing with soldier is the right answer, apparently. Okay.
He does run away.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Sure. Okay. This could be fine. Where are you guys set up to hit?
Right as they walk through the choke.
Yeah, reasonably so. You could do that. Your tracer might argue that you were set up to hit them earlier, that you were set up to hit them here, for example, because your tracer's pretty deep. Your Sombra will adjust. She's fast. But, we might have said, hey, our tracer's a little more set up for us to have hit them here or here, so maybe we're on different pages in terms of what we're doing, and maybe we wanted to think about hitting them here. That said, yeah, we're sort of trying to delay this fight because we'd like our diva to be as close as possible, or have mech would be even better, and a lot of the time what you do is you actually would not stuff this fight the way you guys are. You would poke at them and sort of kite your elimination boxes back until your diva is able to get their mech. That would probably be the more standard move here. I'd approve of it. You could certainly throw them off pace by hitting them before your diva's ready, but heck.
Yeah, wait, a quick question. In terms of the decision about which one is the real hard dive, who is it on to make the adjustments? Is it on the ball to make the adjustments, or the DPS, or me to make the calls?
How do I want to put this? It becomes a hard dive once. How do I want to put this? So I like you effectively as Brig sort of making that call. And the reason I sort of like that is you can't really get out. You don't have a recall button. If you walk in, you're sort of stuck in. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I like you or Ball doing it, and the reason I like those is if you go in, you're sort of stuck in, but Wrecking Ball also has some of those longer cooldowns in Adaptive Shield and Pile Drive, and Pile Drive is much more of this is a heavier hit versus softer hit. You can do softer dives with Pile Drive just to peel, that sort of thing, don't get me wrong, but you two would generally have the most control over, is this serious? Are we actually going in hard or not type thing? I would generally say, hey, if your ball can call it, that's fantastic. But your ball may be calling dives in general, and you might be when you start shouting a target, everyone knows that it's turned into a hard dive. This is a real one. We're staying in type thing. Okay?
Yep.
Cool. Because again, I'm looking at this, and we didn't really trigger our dive. Again, you see this? I'm potentially okay with us not triggering our dive because we don't have that mech. But if that's the case, I can't really have kept my Zen here, my Brig here. I needed to kite a little more. We're sort of kiting. But, I thought we were going to dive, and now I'm not quite sure what's going on. And your Zen wasn't really set up to kite in this situation. So...
Yeah, I was out of position.
Right. So again, this is the situation where I don't think you guys are on the same page with where or when the dive is happening, and I'm not seeing those strong committal altogether dives that I'd really like to see. In some cases, even when you're reasonably set up for them. So I would like, a little bit more of a plan to hit, if we have to as training wheels, go plan to hit them here, this sort of thing. That could be fine with me. If we, then graduate to kite, or everyone just sees where you're going to hit them, and of course your ball goes in, or, and then goes, commit, or brig, that whatever. Sure, that's fine. But I'd say that's probably the most important thing I'm seeing right now. Our dives just are not very committal. Especially against this type of team, should this team ever really get to decide when the fight starts against you?
No. I mean, they have a monkey, but monkey nano, but that's basically it.
Yeah, you guys should pick when these fights start. That should happen. So let's practice until we can make that happen. Let's go, hey, we pick when these fights happen. We set up to fight where we want to. If we don't like it, we kite out. But the reality is we set up for where the fights happen. And then we're all going to go in, press W pretty darn hard. Because right now you guys are playing okay, we set up our angles and our angles are good. And then we duel and then we're okay. And that's the right way to play against Brawl Comp, for example. Except that you do, once you soften them up, need to then be willing to dive, hit them, whatever the case may be. And I'm not really seeing those decisive dives come in ever. And against bunker comps, you're going to have to hit those decisive comps or you're just going to lose. Or those decisive dives or you're just going to lose. Does that all follow? Does that all track? Does anyone have any questions?
That makes sense.
Okay. Then that's probably where I'd stop it here for today. I would look at this and say, hey, Karako's commit timings seem pretty separate from the rest of the team, so we might want to look at that one in particular. That's something that we want to pay a little bit more attention to. Perfectly fine to poke out a team, perfectly fine to apply pressure to them from an angle, but we've got a fair amount of like being in the middle of the fight when no one else is in it type thing, or not really taking an angle. Henry, I want you to work with Karako specifically because, again, you have an easier time taking lanes. I would like you to be calling out which lane you want, or talking to Karako, establishing before each fight who's taking which lane between fights. That should be part of your comm structure. That's really as important as your ult planning. Okay? Cool. Xer, like, you know, you bend in the wind or you break. You don't just, you know, stand here and go, yes, I'm good, whatever. No, more seriously looking at this, like you do look at this and you go, hey, you're going to be one of the people I can tell in your comp structure that's responsible for hard calling that these dives are happening, making sure they're happening. I don't want to weigh you down with too much, but I can tell you in a lot of comp structures that's on Brig, and I can tell that it's probably going to be something that you're going to need to take some level of ownership for here as well. Cool. Electroshock, again, this is going to feel weird. On these dives, you've got to make sure you walk in. I know in some videos, like I can remember Gibraltar videos or reviews, for example, you were walking in. You're just going to have to work with your team, figure out, hey, what we're doing, and then make sure you, in terms of are we going in, are we not going in, and then make sure you have that threatening sightline on the place that we're trying to eliminate, which you're pretty good on, but I see a little bit of wiggle room on Kings Row, a little bit of wiggle room in a couple places, so we can continue to work on that. Julius, what do I have for you? Not too much. You were a little slow to get out here on this first rotation. I don't care about that too much. Is there anything that's jumping out at me? We could, like, I would like you to see you develop that wider angle on Kings Row, potentially into Hotel there. I would like to see you make sure, like Xer, that you don't get caught in brawls before your team is actually ready. Like you, when you're on Sigma, are basically as vulnerable as your Brig and as your Zen are before the opposing team has been adequately softened, but you do have a minimum range to work around.
What about positioning here on this map? I remember seeing that Diva was on high ground for most of that first half of this map
up here.
So far.
Yeah, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's probably not what I do, because what you're looking at here is Diva, you know, can be up here, can go hit this from the dive. You're more often going to want to think of, hey, if your dive has more angles, your dive is stronger. If your dives hit from angles, they're going to be stronger. If your dive comes at the opposing team from standing on top of your Zen and Brig, it's probably not going to be quite as strong. That said, protecting your Zen and Brig is pretty cool. So what do you do? Well, the answer is you would prefer to have a little bit of lane control to push from somewhere else, but you can only do that when you know the other team has wandered in. So if I look at this, I'd actually be pretty darn happy to have my Diva like over here, ready to hit from the side, ready to hit from the side. That's going to mess them up a little bit. Or if I'm worried about them coming at my team, again, hitting them from the side, I'm not going to get Rhine pinned. I can break them up, that sort of thing. So like, we look at this and we'd hit this from a perspective of hitting these guys from a side is pretty good. We had some control over here. We had some control over here. I don't mind our Diva being up here, but if we're in these situations where we might have to be retreating, I start looking at, well, maybe I do want to be a little bit more here so I can hit boops to help peel for my backline as they kite out, just hit U-turn boops, that sort of thing myself. I'm not terribly upset about Diva positioning up here, though, given that it looked like this is where we are trying to hit the fights. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Then I don't think I missed anyone there. I think we covered a big group thing, which is going to be, hey, I do want to see some more decisive dives come in here once you've set up your angles. Yeah, I think that's what we need today. Anyone have any questions at all? General stuff, specific stuff? Feel like, hey, wait, I still don't know how I'm supposed to train this, or hey, wait, what do we do against this weird comp that we ran into? Anything else you guys want to cover? Okay, I guess I can call that one